What we're doing today, I did pull a plug out. I pulled two out actually. They look great. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to jack the truck up, pull the shocks off the front, coilover shocks, and replace them with the Viking Crusaders I have. Here's what I've been using for weight. I need to think of something a little better, like some, I don't know, steel plates or something like that. The sand is nice because I can just take it out and put it back in, but I think I need more weight than I've been running. I've only been running 200 pounds. I could probably run 3 or so, but I don't want to have like the entire bed full of sand. I'm gonna get the front bumper off, which is just 4 clips. I'm gonna jack the truck up, get these swapped out, and then once the rear leaf springs get here, I will pull the rear out, and then we'll do that one. All right, so here's what's going out. This is a QA1. I think this was a GS401, single adjustable front shock. And then this is the Viking Crusader that's going in. It's a little bit longer, so it's gonna give us a little more front travel. We definitely weren't using all the front travel that this front suspension was capable of. So, I mean, an inch is better than, nothing. But obviously, like, the new thing, not that it's new, but the long travel stuff, what everyone's going to, at the end of the day, this is what we can afford and go to, so this is what we're gonna use. And like, people have gone really fast with these exact front shocks, so we're gonna get them thrown on. I bought a set of 450-pound springs. These are 350-pound springs, and I was kind of in between. I didn't know if I wanted 450 or 350 based on the weight and what I'm looking for, so what I'm gonna do is throw the 450s in, and then if they're not working, we'll go back to the 350s since I already have them. So we'll give it a shot. At the end of the day, we just keep adjusting until we can get it to work, and we'll make it happen. All right, so here is what we're looking at for travel in the front now. Not a ton, but it's, I mean, that 1 inch is showing a lot right there. So again, the more front travel we can get, the better. I think that's a pretty good amount. The tires are just barely touching the ground, so that's full travel right there. So if we can get that, truck to extend properly, and that's gonna put a lot of weight in the back tire. So, I think already things are looking up. And like I said, front tire is barely on the ground. Probably gonna have to adjust that up, but for now we'll get the ride height set. But yeah, all right, so I'm on here setting ride height, and I watch Kevin Wilson a lot to learn a lot about suspension because I don't know much about it at all. I shouldn't say that because I learned a lot, but it's all from him. And he likes to see, he said I think he said 30 to 40% spring compression. So it is a 10-inch spring, which means that I basically have to crush it 3 inches. So that's what I'm doing now. I'll work my way over to the other side next, and then we'll see how it sits, and we'll go from there. So the truck wasn't really sitting that well, didn't really feel right. Went back and I kind of realized these 450-pound springs are a little too much, so I put the 350s back on. Set the ride height back to pretty much where it was before. So what we're doing now, I'm getting the rear all taken apart. I'm gonna remove this 2-inch drop spring. Like I said, I have a set of stock ride height leaf springs. And mainly what we're looking for is we want the arch of this spring to be stock ride height. So this way we can get a more favorable bar angle for our pickup point. And then I'm gonna lower the truck about 1 inch. So I already have a set of these Calvert Racing lowering blocks. They're stackable, so I'm gonna have a set of these basically on each side below the axle above the leaf spring. It's gonna help with that also too. By the time the suspension settled, the installed height of the shock was not really where it was a little bit too low. Looking for about 14 inches installed height, and we were at like 13. So, and that's all the adjustability I had. So that'll give us the ability to have the new shock set to the correct installed height, give us the appropriate amount of either extension or compression that the shock can handle. Outside of that, I got a few of these clamp on. These are 25-pound ballast weights. I'm gonna put 2 on the rear housing, That'll be 50 pounds hanging on the rear. That'll be unsprung weight added to that bar at the bottom. And then probably gonna add the other two somewhere up here somewhere. Maybe even a little further up the bar, it depends. But I know like you want your weight high and to the rear. I'm gonna have the sandbags back here still. But what I'm trying to do is have weight basically back to the rear so I can bring the weight bias back. But I don't want it too far back because I really don't want the truck to like wheelie. I see a lot of these S10s out here just pulling these huge wheelies, and I don't have the extension for it. So we want to keep the wheels on the ground, but with the weight far enough back. So, you know, we're just going to play with it. I'm probably going to, you know, put the weight. Honestly, I think I'm going to put it right about here. Probably really the only spot that I can put it. So we'll start with it here. You know, if anything, it's going to help. I mean, if we need to get the weight a little bit further back, we'll find ways to do that. But that'll be, I got 100 pounds worth of those. So it'll be 100 pounds worth of those. So I started with 100 pounds of sand in the rear and towards the bed. Last time I went 200 pounds and the truck performed way better, you know, to include all the shocks and stuff like that. So with these clamp-on weights, that's 100 pounds. Then I have my 200 pounds of sandbags, so that's 300 pounds. I might sneak one more sandbag. I have room between the fuel tank and the bed. And I wrap these sandbags up and strap them in so they're not going anywhere and it's not leaking sand everywhere. I know a lot of people don't like running sandbags. I personally don't, but it's the cheapest way that I can do it right now. So it'll be about 350 pounds plus all the other changes. Like I said, as long as we can go faster, I think this recipe that we're gonna have right here should be what we're looking for to get us to go a competitive time out there. All right, so here's the difference between this spring came off the truck and then this is the stock height spring that's gonna go on. Same spring rate, so this one is just gonna be a stock ride height spring. I've got a small lowering block that's gonna go in there. I just need to take these off and then go ahead and slide them back up in there. But as you can see, our pickup point, so the Caltrack, the plate is gonna be here, and then the bar will actually have a nice upward angle up to here. Whereas here, you know, here was actually, the bar was pretty much going downhill if I had it in the bottom hole. So I had to space it down on this side to try and get a nice angle, but we'll be good now. So we'll go ahead and throw this up in the truck, move to the other side, and then get the truck back down, set the installed height on the shocks, and we'll go from there. All right, so here's the finished product. We got it all finished up. Well, I got it all finished up. Truck actually sits pretty close to where it was before. I actually have all the weight, the ballast weight in the back of the truck, and then I set the shock height. Got the front. I might have to raise the front just a tiny little bit more, but I mean, everything's looking pretty good. I did bust a brake line. What I was doing when I was setting the rear back in, you have to have the pin on the leaf spring has to mate up with the hole at the bottom of the rear. And I just wanted it to move forward the littlest bit, so I just tapped it with a hammer. And of course I swung, missed, and hit the braided brake hose. So I got to replace that, and then I'll bleed the brakes again. Luckily I noticed it and didn't find out at like 100 miles an hour or more. All right, so last thing that the truck is gonna get for a while after this is an anti-roll bar. I ordered it from TRZ Motorsports, just waiting for it to come in. I don't think it's gonna come in, or at least it's not gonna be installed in time for our next test session. So we'll see how these changes do with the truck. I feel pretty confident that it's gonna do much better. I'm gonna try and hit it a little bit harder last time. I've been very conservative with it, which is why the truck has been somewhat slow. And it's not even really slow, it's just slow compared to what it needs to go. But we're gonna try and get after it a little harder this next time out. Mainly looking at just testing, but if the tests go well enough, we'll probably jump in the shootout that they're gonna do. It should be January 8th down at Thunder Valley. So anyway, guys, that's it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.